technical difficulties
Right.
due to the press being the devil Bible speaks of, not making good enough technology.
Right.
So, like I was saying, everyone know we say we go to war,
Right.
right?
Right.
Why we don't ever say we want war to come to us. Why? Because then we start losing our citizens.
Right.
We start losing the people. We're fighting to protect our families, protect the ones that reside in our countries or respective lands.
Right.
Right? That's what we're going to. We go out to war to destroy the enemy on a different forefront, because fighting our own forefront is gonna we're gonna lose our own lives, not only the soldiers, we're gonna lose the innocent civilians' lives, bombs and all that. They've been talking thing, guns, stray bullets, whatever it may be. Right?
Right.
People like to win any type of way they can. War, you can't have, there's no such thing as an equal war, a fair war.
Right.
Every type of strategy in war is a go. They can have hostages or whatever.
That's right.
If they wanted to. So of course we want to keep our civilians out of danger.
Right.
So we go to war.
Right.
It is that we go to stop. We go wherever we gotta go. We go to the oceans. We go to other lands. Everything along those that nature, if possible.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think it's strategic? Why do you think that we are putting our marine bases and our big ships and stuff on the coasts or right outside the region where other countries consider their land or their property?
Right.
Of course, because if you go to the oceans, right? Whatever ocean is between, I can never remember what oceans. There's about 4 or 5 of them. Seven oceans, 7 major seas, 7 great seas, right?
Right.
Whatever ocean or sea is between America and Russia, I have no idea. I'm not a geography person when it comes to sea because I don't live in the ocean.
Right.
Right. So whichever one is there, there's a specific region, a specific amount of distance off of the coast that the sea is a part of that nation.
Right.
You understand? Part of that sea or that ocean is a part of, or considered a part of, the United States,
Right.
or Russia, or China, or whatever type of landmass that it's residing in, right?
Right.
And then you hit international waters, where everything is allowed, okay?
Right.
So now you got to think about strategy. If America, because America knows the Third World War has started and it's right around the corner, meaning it's about to pop off more.
Right.
It's already started. It started, the UN announced about 2 years ago?
Kind of
About 2 years ago, the UN announced the Third World War has already started.
Right.
Right? So now, if we know that's already started, everyone's got to get ready for when things actually, around the climax.
Right.
And so, because war isn't always bombs dropping. It's about moving chess pieces.
Yeah.
Right? So America, being the greatest kingdom that there is of now, they're setting. I'm not saying we, because I'm not a part of America. I just happen to live here, unfortunately.
Oh God.
They are putting their Navy boats and Marines and submarines or whatever the case may be around that border of the other countries.
Right.
So now that's why when you look on the news, it says Donald Trump China is threatened by Navy ships bordering China.
Right.
Bordering China doesn't mean it's docked up.
Right.
It means it's on the border of the part of the sea that they claim to be theirs.
Right.
Right? This border meaning we're outside the spot. Why do you think they're outside of it?
So, in other words, they strategically placing their ships so they won't have far to go if attack is set out.
That's true. Not only if they were told to go take ground,
they won't have far to
they
go.
would not go far. That is true. But they put those ships there for another reason.
Intimidation.
To keep them in.
Right.
Of course, they can send jets and planes and all that out over the ships,
Right.
but there's missiles and things that shoot down jets.
Right.
We have jets as well.
Right.
We will know if they send jets off. Why? Because our Navy ships will let us know
Right.
that China has set off military grade jets.
Right.
You understand? You gotta keep them uncomfortable
Right.
in their own land where they do not want to war.
Right.
You understand? It's a strategic move.
Right.
It's the same way you play chess. What do? You box in the king.
Right.
You use the rooks. That's not the rooks. the knights are your greatest piece in chess.
Right.
You greatest.
Okay.
Get is the everything really revolves in chess. Of course, I'm not a chess master, but around in chess, really the knights are what really keep the game going. You lose your knights, you majority of the time lost the game.
Right.
Majority of the time, if you know how to play.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay.
Because why? Because they can jump, they can go different aspects. They go back, forward.
Right.
You know, they move what, three squares at a
Three
time?
in the-
Three square,
yeah.
two up, one to the left.
Three
Right.
up and one to the left. It's 1, 2,
Yeah.
3.
Three?
Three up, one. Yeah, three up, one to the
Yeah,
left.
okay.
And
So
back, they can go back.
they can whatever they
forwards
want.
with that.
They can move anywhere. They can, you understand? So you gotta be wise like them.
Right.
That's why they put the so-called America puts their ships around the place that they're about to be at war at, so they can box them in and push them back into the corner where they're uncomfortable.
Right.
They can't drop bombs on their own city.
Right.
They can, but they're gonna take more losses that way.
Right.
That's right.
Why? Because then their economy has to build up whatever they lost.
Right.
All the lives they lost.
Right.
Get my point?
Okay.
That's why we say we go to war.
Right.
Because we would rather have it somewhere else than on our own land.
That's right.
Okay. That make all the sense in the world.
So keep reading that definition. So a state-armed conflict between two different nations. This is talking about land masses.
Right.
China, America, Russia, Iran, wherever.
Right.
You understand? Two different land masses that have military structures, right?
Right.
Go ahead.
Or states, or different groups within a nation or state.
Or different groups within a nation. What's this group? Want to know what the group is? The Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge
That's right.
versus the KKK.
Right.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
The UPK versus LGBT.
Right.
On point.
Con.
So-called blacks and Native Indians against the oppressors.
That's
That's
right.
right.
Against the Chinese, the Japanese, all that. That's what that is. They,
Con.
man, the white man know what it is. He knows it's an act of war. Now we know what war is. What starts a war? Let's go back to the first question about before I brought up this whole definition. What starts a war between two nations? When I mean nations, I mean people.
So like I said, I would say a difference in okay, they usually wars start
Physical war.
Physical war. Okay, well, physical war usually start between two people by a disagreement or a lack of respect or something.
That's petty.
Okay.
I know that happens. We gotta think about the truth though.
Right.
We're not gonna go to war with a nation of people because they have a different belief.
Right.
Let the heathen believe what they want to believe in.
Right.
Why would we go to physical war with another nation?
As Aram said earlier, killing somebody of my nation. Of our nation.
Killing somebody that's a part of another nation than yours.
Right.
You understand? That's why I brought this out of camp last week as well. What happened? I think it was Iran. What happened to Iran? It was either Iran or Iraq. So basically the same. What happened to them when they beheaded that TV news reporter James Foley? They beheaded him on TV, literally TV. What? That was a what?
Declaration of war.
That was a declaration of war. And what did America do to respond to the declaration of war?
Saddam Khan tried to bomb Iraq into the Stone Age.
They bombed. No, they didn't try. They did.
Right.
They bombed Iraq to the Stone Age for one death.
Right. They killed women,
Millions.
babies.
Children.
Right.
Everybody for
Men, women,
one
and children.
death. Because the so-called oppressor, the one that owns runs America, he understands what it means to be at war. But because we have became Christians, we don't understand what war is.
Right.
Because because now in 2019, black people, when we hear, oh, the so-called oppressor shot one of our people down on the streets, we hear that. What do we think?
That nigga shouldn't have been doing what he was doing.
He should have been doing what he's doing. They'll try to justify the shooting.
Wakanda.
And then let's say When Dylan Roof Storm went up and shot up that black church,
Right.
about 4 years back.
That's right.
About 4 years back, they all did what? We all gotta forgive them.
Kind of Wakanda.
You understand? And then when we go out to camp or we in class, or whatever, and some random Christian comes into this class, and we say the oppressor is the devil. Look at what he's doing. He's shooting us down the streets.
Right.
What's the number one thing Christians say after we say they're the devil because they shoot us down in the streets? What do they usually say?
Love thy enemies and forgive them.
When we say that police are shooting us down the streets,
Right.
they're killing us and murdering us all the time, what will the Uncle Tom Negro say to that? When we're trying to throw blame, when we're putting blame on the oppressor, they'll say what?
Oh, you can't blame they criminals. You can't blame the police.
They say that too.
Right.
But okay, I might as well give it to you.
Come.
They say, but black people kill black people too.
Oh,
That's where they go.
I hate that.
When we talk about the crimes that the so-called oppressor does to us, they try to justify by saying, well, black people kill black people too.
So like I said, and the actual statement that they say that makes my blood boil. What about black on black crime?
Mm-hmm. Yes, black people do kill black people, and it's a tragedy. It's a tragedy. It's very, very tragic. And of course, I say that with a blanket face,
Right.
but I actually hate it.
Right.
I feel it and all that. I'm just not emotional. I'm not gonna stop and cry on the airwaves.
Right.
Really, I'm not gonna ever cry. Because my last time I cried was a long time ago.
Right.
I ain't gonna tell you why, but I did.
Right.
It was before I officially came into school. But
Right.
Sorry.
So
it is I know because I told the story last week.
Right.
so it's acts of war committed against us every day then.
Kind of Wakanda.
Well, are you talking about black and black crime?
No, I'm talking about the
When the
evil
oppressor
minds,
kills
oppressor
us.
kind.
Yes, that's acts of war every day. So, but is it a act of war when a Hispanic kills a Negro?
Lie.
Lie.
Is it an act of war when a Native Indian kills a Hispanic?
Lie.
Sir.
What is it?
It is self-hatred.
True.
In-house conflict.
No. What? Say again?
In-house conflict.
In-house conflict.
Yes,
That's right. You understand? That's in-house conflict. That's a black people problem.
Right.
You understand? Meaning
Right.
that's a black thing black people need to sort out on their own.
Right.
You understand? So when a black person kills a black person, which is tragic, it's a tragedy, that's a black problem in the black community. When I say black, I mean all tribes, all of us. That's something we need to solve.
Right.
All just amongst ourselves because it should not happen.
Right.
You shouldn't have Jerome go shoot down Tyrone or Pookie
Right.
because they live on a different block or because they wear a different color.
Right.
That should not ever happen.
Wakanda.
That shouldn't happen.
Right.
You understand? That's just a black on black problem, right?
Okay.
But when a different nation kills our nation, that's an act of warfare. Yeah, that's warfare.
Wakanda.
So like
Tamir Rice, act of war.
That's right.
Sandra Bland, act of war. Laquan McDonald, act of war. You understand? Eric Garner, act of war.
Wakanda.
Oh, how many more can I name?
Sean Bell.
Yeah, all these brothers and sisters that are being shot down the streets. Trayvon Martin.
Right.
All those were acts of war.
Right.
But guess what we don't do? We will go to war with each other over a death, but we won't go to war against the oppressor over a death.
That's right.
Why? Because we love the oppressor more than we love each other.
Right.
We understand what war is for America. But we don't understand what war is for black people. You got to separate the two. America's war is not our war.
Right.
It's against God to go fight in America's wars.
That's right.
Literally. I understand that America is where you live and where you reside. It's not wrong to feel that little bit of, to feel that where you want to fight for the country that you live in. That's not necessarily wrong.
Right.
It's not, because I understand you want to protect your family. It happens.
Right.
We live in this landmass. We live in America. So, and your family's in America. So I can understand why you'd want to go to war to prevent anyone from killing your family.
Right.
right? That makes sense. But it's not in the right spirit to do so. Why? Because you're not, even though you're going to war and you're trying to protect your family from the upcoming threat, which is okay. Protecting your family is beautiful, right?
Okay.
But you going and putting on the colors of America,
Right.
and you going to war, you aren't being looked at as one that fights for his family.
Right.
You're being one that fights for the kingdom.
Exactly.
You understand? Fighting for your family and fighting for the kingdom are two separate things.
Right.
Why? Because you don't have to go fight in the war. You don't have to go fight in World War I or World War II or the Civil War or whatever like that to go protect your family. You can protect your family from your house.
Right.
You can get if you're not a felon, you don't have backed up child support or whatever the case may be, you can get all the weapons you want.
That's right.
And if someone imposes or breaks into your house or onto your property, you are allowed to protect your family. Put them down.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
You don't have to go to another country to protect your family.
Right.
Why? Because while you're out protecting your family, who isn't there in the house protecting your family?
The protector.
You.
Right.
You understand? Of course, that goes two ways. Living in Israel, we would go out and do that. But what? In our kingdom, we know each other. In our kingdom, we trust and know for a fact that no one will do the other harm.
Right.
Because we love each other as we love ourselves.
That's right.
You understand? But when you live in America and you leave the house, you're still leaving your family around the enemy, which is the so-called oppressor.
That's right. That's right.
You're fighting the war to protect your family and your country. At the same time, your family can be getting shot up in your own house.
Right.
By the one that does not see you as an American.
Right. Right.
It's a shame to see brothers and sisters put on all the colors, all that to go fight in America's wars, which I understand.
Mm-hmm.
There was a point in time where I thought I was actually going to be a cop one day. You understand? It was easy. Yeah, if you're athletic, you got some common sense, you can be a cop.
Right.
Yeah, really. Look at all these cops. 9 times out of 10, they 5, 30, 80 pounds out of overweight. They can't breathe more without eating a donut first. Like you don't have to do much to be a cop no more. I was gonna be a cop one day. I thought so, but then I grew up and I said, no, I'm good. I'm straight on that. Really, what I was gonna do was be in the NFL. But then I was like, no, screw it. Truth is more important.
That's right.
I'll sacrifice my. Because if you go play professional sports, you gotta sacrifice your Saturdays and your Sundays.
Right.
Okay.
I can't miss every goddamn camp. I can't.
Right.
I'm not here.
Right.
I'm not. I can't miss camp. I'll miss camp maybe 2-3 times a year. If it is, it's only because I gotta visit family on the other sides of the earth.
It's like, sir, what you've been saying, your point has been so heavy in my mind, it made me realize something. The oppressor understands what it is to be a nation, nationhood. Our people don't. Like you said, you kill one Edomite, America goes to war against your country. If we kill an Edomite, if we walked outside right now and saw a random Edomite number 37 walking down the street, and we decided to kill random Edomite 37, guess what the Edomite nation is going to do? They're going to not only shut this neighborhood down, but they're going to hunt us down till they find us and are able to lock us up and kill us.
You understand?
And when they kill one of us, like you said, what was he doing? Oh, maybe he was a criminal. Oh, that's his fault.
It don't matter.
It don't matter. It don't matter.
It's
Black
true.
lives don't matter.
They don't in America.
Right.
Only white lives do.
That's right.
You understand? But the thing is, of course, I understand because we know the scriptures, you know, the Bible. We understand why things like that happen when another nation attacks a so-called oppressor.
That's right.
Right? Meaning oppressor as the white-haired, blue-eyed devils. You understand? When you go back to the story of Cain and Abel, it says what? for who, paraphrasing, for who put his hand on Cain suffers sevenfold.
Right.
Meaning, if you kill a so-called oppressor, you're gonna get that back sevenfold.
Okay.
So that's why James Foley and Iraq happened how they happened.
Right.
It's because that's not only talking about us doing that to them. That's talking about every nation should not destroy Cain.
Right.
Because you got to think, back around Cain and Abel, around Cain and Abel's times, Israel wasn't existing. Israel didn't exist.
That's right.
The nation of Edom didn't exist.
That's right.
The so-called Arabs didn't exist.
That's right.
You know, some of these other nations did not exist yet.
Right.
They have not been. They never were brought into fruition.
Right.
You understand? Of course, we know Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is where all three of these nations came from.
Right.
Of course, Abraham is where all three of these nations came from the jump, at least. But Cain and Abel, it was just other nations, whoever they might have been. And Cain, because of killing his brother Abel, killing his brother, his punishment was losing his melanin.
Right.
So everyone knew who the criminal was.
Right.
And because Cain pleaded with the Lord and told the Lord that his punishment was too much to bear, because he knew wherever he went, someone would try to kill him because they knew he was a criminal.
Right.
Which would be right for them to kill him. It's right to destroy the criminal. It's right. If someone murders somebody, the death penalty for that. There's a death penalty for that.
Right.
So the Lord showed Cain mercy. He didn't have to, but he did. So what he did was he gave Cain mercy and said, for whoever tries to slays you, is going to get repaid sevenfold.
Oh God.
When he told Cain you, he didn't mean Cain himself.
Right.
He meant his progenitors.
That's right.
You understand? So when Cain died, he was reincarnated into Esau, and now Esau became a nation.
Right.
Of the nation of Edom. Of course, we call them the Edomites because they come from Esau.
Right.
But really, you can call them the Canaan. You don't call them the Canaanites because technically they are from Cain.
Right.
But I wouldn't say they are literally from Cain because Cain was reincarnated. Because we know that Cain was the first so-called oppressor.
Right.
Right. We don't call him Canaanites because he wasn't the spearhead of the nation that we see now.
Right.
He died, and his reincarnated self was the one that spearheaded the nation that we see now.
Right.
You understand? That's why we don't call them Canaanites,
Right.
because Cain isn't the one that put all the rod down to create the nation.
Right.
Esau was.
Right.
If Cain was, we would be calling him Canaanites. You understand? But that would be conflicted because there's already a race of people called the Canaanites. The Lord is not stupid. Yeah, that's probably another reason why it happened. Because we can't have two nations called the Canaanites. Because that's going to be what? Confusion. But the Lord is not the author of that.
That's
right?
Okay.
So, of course, now that's why now your scripture is going to be the home runner.
Okay. So, should I go?
Yeah, the 1 Corinthians.
2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 3. For though we walk in the flesh.
For what?
For though we walk in the flesh.
For though we walk in the flesh, meaning we walk around. So we what in 3?
2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 3.
All right. For though we walk in the flesh, meaning we walk around every day, skin and bones. We walk in the flesh. Go ahead.
We do not war after the flesh.
We don't war after the flesh. We might be flesh, but our warfare isn't to kill flesh. You understand? Of course, it's easy. It's easy. It is that every one of us in the truth has walked by a so-called Edomite and thought, man, let me just once. We've all thought that. All of us. Every last man and woman have thought, man, if I could just.
Right.
You understand? But we know that it's wrong. Right? Not only because we got to obey the laws of the land, but we also got to obey what the Lord said. The Lord said this isn't our time. to do that, right? So even though we are flesh, we do not war after flesh.
Right.
Go ahead.
Verse 4.
Second Corinthians 10 and 3.
All right. 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 4. For the weapons of our warfare For the weapons of our warfare, you understand, meaning like you go back to the word war, a state of armed. To have warfare, you gotta be armed with something. Right.
You understand?
Right.
Regardless of all those little tabs I said, all those different types of war you can have, you have to be armed with something.
Right.
Meaning there is something that's going to support and defend you.
Right.
You understand?
God.
Go ahead. Even though we are weapons of warfare, go ahead.
For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal.
Even though our weapons of warfare are not carnal, they aren't those literal swords right now.
Right.
They ain't those actual thumpers that we got on our hips right now.
Right.
They ain't, our weapons aren't carnal right now.
Right.
Meaning ours don't, they don't injure people to the extent of blood and gore and guts and death.
Right.
You understand? That our weapons don't do that right now. Go ahead.
But mighty through the power to the pulling down of strongholds. Verse 5, casting down imaginations. Should I start at the top of verse 4, sir?
Hold on 1 second.
Come on, God.
Look, okay. Come on, okay. Yeah, come on. Oh goddamn! For the barbecue or nah? Oh, con. So, a month. You mean a specific billboard? Come on, sir. Come on, I'll look around the city and find some billboards and I'll present them to you when I find a good list. Yeah, come on, I'll look online tonight. Come on, sir. All right, Lord, that's good. Ooh, yes, good ass movie. We're gonna explode in Chicago, man. All right, okay, that's not what I'm looking for. I was so looking for warfare principalities.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm looking for the one that says principalities.
Carnal Wakad. Or I was Carnal Wakad.
I'm not sure. Principality. Principalities. Nope, I didn't think so. That's fine though. Here's what it is. Like I said, even though our weapons of warfare are not carnal right now, meaning they aren't the ones that are gonna slit throats and put holes in brothers or put holes in people. You understand? Our weapons are what? Spiritual. That's what I was looking for. Spiritual principalities, something like that. If you can find it. That's what our warfare is. Our warfare is spiritual. So when we go out to camp every Saturday around, we go to war, yes. But do we go to war physically?
Nah, sir.
No, we do not. We go to war spiritually. That's one of the aspects that we talked about earlier.
Okay.
You understand? We know that we are getting killed down the streets every damn day.
Right.
But we know as well we aren't allowed to go kill Cain.
Right.
You understand? You find the scripture?
I think I found it. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12.
Sounds about right.
For we wrestle not against flesh and blood,
There we go. That's it.
but against principalities.
You understand? Even though we wrestle, we don't wrestle against flesh and blood. I mean, we ain't going around to the so-called oppressor and all that. Wrestling means what?
Physically engaged.
Physically engage. We ain't here to physically engage with Israelites and so-called oppressors.
Right.
Physically.
Right.
You understand? We're here to do what?
Wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities.
But the principalities at hand. You understand? We go to war, yes, but our war is not carnal.
Right.
What we do is we go against the principalities at hand. Meaning, we go to war against God loves everybody, because God doesn't.
Right.
We go to war with what God says. You understand?
Right.
Principalities is, we're not going to go fight in the so-called oppressors' wars.
Right.
Why? Because it goes against our principles.
That's right.
Because you go think they're going around and killing all these other nations and going to war with all these other nations, but all these other nations aren't physically at war with us.
That's right. That's
You
right.
understand? How many Chinese people do you see us shooting us down the streets?
Right.
How many Arabs do you see shooting us down the streets?
Right.
Are they at physical warfare with us?
Lie, sir.
But what are they at war with us at?
Spiritually.
Spiritually.
Come
Why?
on.
Because you have brothers and sisters going to their religions.
Right.
You have brothers and sisters going into their democracies and believing in their philosophies
Their businesses.
and their businesses. That's spiritual warfare. They're not physically killing us like the so-called oppressor is. So we ain't at war with them when it comes to physicalities.
Right.
In carnality.
Right.
Of course, I would love to be with every one of them.
God.
You understand? But we aren't.
Right.
Even with the so-called oppressor, we are technically at war physically with them.
Right.
But the Lord says it's not our time
That's
Right.
to
right.
do so.
Right.
You understand? The Lord
Right.
said His vengeance is His. So whatever they do, their cup overfloweth.
Right.
You know, that's what the scriptures say. Their wickedness, their cup that they have, is overflowing. Which means there's no way you can't even measure the amount of destruction they've done.
Right.
You can measure a cup, put it on the scale, but if the cup is overflowing, you can't measure the amount of liquid that's on the floor.
Right.
You understand? That liquid that's on the floor, you just gotta take it for what it is.
Right.
You gotta look at it.
Right.
You gotta see it and just examine it. You can't put it on a scale and say this is how much they deserve.
Right.
You understand?
Oh, well, God.
And since you don't know since you can't judge how much they deserve because the weight is overflowing, you just gotta do the greatest thing imaginable: wipe them out entirely.
That's right.
That's what the Lord is doing.
That's right.
You understand?
Oh,
That's
God.
why He gave that metaphor, is because He can't. Let's say, for example, stealing puts an ounce in your cup
Right.
of sin.
Okay.
Of punishments.
Right.
Since you have an ounce in there, you deserve an ounce worth of sin punishments.
Right.
Okay.
You get your ounce. Then let's say you do I don't want to go straight to murder or rape or something like that. Give me a lesser.
Selling.
You sell drugs. You sell drugs. Now you have 28 ounces
Right.
of sin in your cup.
Right.
So now you're gonna get judged for that 28 ounces.
Right.
Now let's think you only have a 30 ounce cup,
Right.
right? And now you're murdering people, you're raping people,
Right.
and that weighs as much as a 60 ounce cup.
Right.
But your cup only holds 30. So how are you going to get judged? No, let's say your cup is actually 60.
Right.
60, right?
Gotcha.
Sit and murder and rape is 60 ounces worth of punishment.
Right.
So now your cup is exactly full. Because you murdered one person or you raped one person. Now your cup's full at 60. Now you get the punishment worth of 60 ounces. But since you only have a 60 ounce cup and you keep murdering, you keep raping, you've stacked up 100 60 ounce cups.
Right.
You stacked up 100 60-ounce other cups of rape.
Right.
You keep stacking up all these cups, but you really only have one. And now it's just overflowing like a bathtub. Leave your bathtub on, sooner or later it's going to overflow.
That's
Right.
You understand? Of course you can drain the cup. You can drain the tub, but can you drain the floor?
Right.
No. You got to do what? You got to fix the floor. Get a new floor. Yeah, that means you have to do what? To fix the new floor, you got to get what? Do what to the old one?
Rip
That's
it out.
given to you. You got to get rid of the old floor.
Right. Kind of God.
The so-called Lord is going to get rid of that old floor,
Right.
which is the so-called oppressor.
That's right.
You understand?
That's right.
And what we're doing in ISBK, because that's the him getting rid of the old floor is the Lord taking his vengeance.
Right.
That's the carnality that's going to come to them.
Right.
The physical punishments. What we are is we're the tub the drain. We're the drain to the overflooding.
That's right.
Meaning we're going to help the people that are drowning in that tub that has overflown.
Right.
The Israelites that have been swallowing and gasping for air and trying to get free from the Christianity and free from the oppressor. We're the drain that's going to sooner or later take away their problems so they're not drowning anymore.
Right.
We're gonna put our hand in the tub and lift them out that water that they can't keep swimming in.
Damn right.
Feel my point?
Come.
That's all what it is. I should be, man, I don't call myself metaphor king. Let me stop. These are all going off the dome. You know, I've never said any of this before. But it's a beautiful thing.
That's good.
So let's drop that. Let's go to Psalms 137 and 21. We're gonna end it with this one. So I have gonna happen over the time.
You said Psalms
137
21
and 21. That's for sure not what I was looking for. 130, maybe it's 139. Yeah, 139.
139.
Yeah, 20.
20.
Actually, let's just start at 19.
137 and 19.
Yeah,
Okay.
139 and 19.
Okay, 139 and 19.
Yeah. And if I could, if I could get uno mas this.
Uno mas.
Uno mas.
That's bad.
Psalms 139, verse 21.
19.
19. Surely thou would slay the wicked.
Woo!
Woo! Say what?
Surely thou wilt slay the wicked.
Say the other part. Right after that.
All power.
Ooh. You understand? Psalm. Who is the one that is in charge of Psalms? Of course, I don't want to say wrote because he might have not technically wrote it down.
Right.
Who is Psalms about, really? Like, go ahead.
Psalms was Solomon. No,
That song is Solomon.
no, King David.
King David.
King David.
You understand? When you go to, I think Psalms, chapter 1, verse 1, I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken. I wouldn't say that. It's not 1 verse 1. But Psalms, when we talk about King David, the Lord says what? That King David has a heart as of the Lord.
Right.
Meaning
right.
King David had a perfect heart. He thought he followed the Lord to every last individual dot.
Right.
You understand? He was looking at the Lord's laws and he was carving them down himself. He's like, I can't tell if this connects or doesn't. So let me make one that connects and one that doesn't. Type of guy. He's like, I don't want to make it wrong, so I gotta have one that is perfect and maybe one that is and one's wrong. I'd rather have both.
Okay.
You understand? That's how on point he was before his downfall.
Right.
Before women. You understand?
And so like if I may, sir, it said that King David hated his enemies or the Lord's enemies. Perfect.
That's where we're going. Don't even do it.
Salakia, sir, Salakia.
Go ahead, read it again, Imam.
Salakia.
Psalms 139, verse 19. Surely thou would slay the wicked, O power.
Ooh, that's a heavy scripture.
Come
You understand? I almost forgot about this, but I pull this at camp all the time when I'm talking about this isn't only talking about other. This isn't, of course, this is talking about all wicked.
Right.
Not only wicked Israelites,
Right.
but the other nations that are wicked amongst themselves towards us.
Right.
You understand? Of course, they can't be righteous, but they can have a sense of right and wrong. You know, they know what they do is wrong to us. They know for a fact.
Right.
They can't be righteous, but they can be outstanding heathen. Right, like a so-called oppressor that is not physically or doing anything wrong towards us.
Right.
They minding their own business. They going to work. They doing this. They doing that, and they aren't doing anything wrong towards us. That's what an outstanding heathen would be.
It's like, oh man, it's like
It's because it died, and then this is the last scripture. Don't worry, you got it.
Sort of like I would call them passive oppressor friends, and that I've had in the world. They're passive passive friends of other nations that I've had in the world, where they look at the world and they're disgusted by it. They feel bad for us. They don't lift a finger against us. They even hate or seriously dislike people of their own nation that harm us. However, they still take full advantage of the privilege.
Exactly. They don't physically punish us, but they get they take in the repercussions or the benefits that come with their race doing what they did.
Right.
Which means they will support it because it helps them, but then they can say, I never owned slaves.
Right.
I never did this to black people.
I'm not racist.
You see, I'm not racist. Really, they are racist because the definition of racist means you love your race more than another. Racist doesn't mean hanging and lynching and crucifixes.
Right.
Racist just means you love your race more than anyone else. That's why it's called racist.
Right.
It's not hatist. It's not murderous. It's racist.
Racist.
Meaning that you prefer your race above others.
Okay.
You understand? But of course, now in 2019, you think about racist, you think about the Holocaust.
Right.
You think about Hitler.
Right.
When you think about racism, you think about the lynchings and the death that we happen in America now. That's what you think about racism, is because that's the word they use to help promote their cause.
Right.
But we only look at the destruction that came with it. We don't look at the racism as the prosperity that came with the one that was racist.
Right.
You understand? Racism made the so-called oppressor prosper in America.
That's right.
That's right.
Racism helped Adolf Hitler prosper with Germany.
That's right.
You understand? Right. Racism helped prosper the Israelites when we were on top. Racism helped prosper the Africans in Egypt.
That's right.
Racism prospers the race that understands racism.
Right.
You understand?
That's
what it is. But keep reading around.
Come on, sir. Psalms 139, verse 19. Depart from me, therefore, ye bloody men.
You what?
Depart from me, therefore, ye bloody men.
Ye bloody men. Meaning what? The ones that you have blood on your hands.
Right.
Yeah, depart from me. Of course, he's not talking about the ones that went to war for him.
Right.
Or the ones that killed in self-defense.
Right.
He's talking about the ones that killed in vain. You understand? Murderers.
Right.
Is what he's talking about. Ones that fought against his cause.
Right.
You understand? Oppressors that killed us with a sword.
Right.
Go ahead.
Verse 20. For they speak against thee wickedly.
So they what?
Speak against thee wickedly.
So they speak against thee wickedly. You understand? These other nations speak against the Lord wickedly all the time.
Right.
And not only them, our own people that followed after the nations.
Right.
You understand? Which is against the law. It's against the law to speak against God.
Right.
It's against the law to say God loves everybody. That's a sin.
That's
Why?
right.
Because you're lying.
That's right.
It's against the law to say everybody's supposed to be equal. Why? Because it doesn't say it in the Bible.
Right.
That's
The
right.
Lord said there's no such thing as equality. It's all about separatism.
Right.
But you saying it is this and it is that, but it's not in this book. It's a lie.
That's
so you're
right.
doing wickedly, and you're saying, so you're speaking against the Lord.
Right.
Go ahead.
and thy enemies take thy name in vain.
And the enemies take the Lord's name in vain. You understand? When you go out to camp, what do the other nations do? Mock the Lord's name.
Right.
Why? Or how? Because every time we go out there, they do what? Yo, God, man, he's fake. He doesn't exist. That's not the God I would ever want to follow. He sounds like a murderer, a racist. Of course, he's saying the racist is right. They right. But they trying to say it in a derogatory term or phrase. Go ahead.
It's like this, sir. And could this also be saying, like, okay, I'm a young man in this truth, right? And I'm around you all when you're at camp. Say if I was known for murder of somebody, and you're bringing the truth out, would this also be saying they would be like, well, what about the young man right there? They'll use my name in vain to try to speak against the truth and to speak against the camp, to speak against the school because you have a well-known murderer, a bloody man within your ranks or attempting to get in your ranks.
Say it again.
I said, would this be saying like you have, it said to use your name in vain. So I'm Young Man K. Say people are like, well, Young Man K is a murderer. I saw him on the news. He killed 7 people, and now he's standing there with y'all, screaming, "That's right!" and da 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 da. With that, I would be a bloody man, a murderer that's trying to reform my ways, and that would give Christianites and people that are not in the truth an excuse to dispel the truth by saying you got that murderer standing next to you.
I wouldn't say that.
Kind of what kind?
Why? Because the Lord wants those type of people.
That's right.
Kind of what
The
kind?
Lord doesn't want those pussyfoots.
Right.
He don't want people to wear dresses. He doesn't. Of course, he'll take brothers that, let's say,
A little softer.
give me someone that's gay, that's prominent.
Jabari.
I mean, like prominent.
Oh,
I mean,
like really?
world gay. Now, of course, we all know Jabari's gay, but no, people don't know who Jabari is.
Kind of what kind?
Give me someone gay. Lil Nas X. Lil Nas X.
Kind
You
of what
understand?
kind?
Of course, he most likely will never come into the truth because he's rich, right?
Right.
But he gay. Do you think the Lord would not take him?
Like,
The Lord would take him if he heard his voice, right?
Right.
If he hearkened and repented and changed his ways, he'd take him. But 99 times out of 10, he wouldn't come into the school. Why? Because he is, for one, rich.
kind of what kind?
2, usually a gay man but turning a gay man straight
Right.
is probably is a difficult task. It really isn't. It's really not an easy task because he's so far caught up in his lust
Right.
that it's disgusting.
Right.
But the Lord wants the killers, the ones that were in prison 5-10 years.
Right.
He wants the brothers that would have fought against whoever.
Right.
You understand? He wants the brothers that have some bodies. I'm not gonna call brothers out because I ain't trying to get y'all locked up. We don't snitch in UBK. You know
That's
what I'm saying?
right.
We ain't snitching.
That's right.
But he wants those. He wants men of war. You understand? Of course, Lil Nas X and Cam Newton and all these other and LeBron James. Of course, they big and burly and all, but they gay.
Right.
But they are technically men of war. Why? Because they war in their own way. Basketball is a battle.
That's right.
Yeah, football is for show a battle.
That's right.
Singing, no, not really. But you see my point. They are men of war. They're just effeminate in their ways, but they still have that spirit of warfare in them.
Right.
Basketball means you're going against your rival, and you'll do whatever it takes to beat them. Football, same way. You gotta smash and grind and hustle and beat niggas down. It makes sense,
That's right.
but it's less likely. Hold on. Why is everyone trying to call me that? I'm trying to finish this. Hello? Yeah. I'm here right now. Okay, no sweat. That's cool. All right, brother. All right. But yeah. Keep reading. I think I got my point across because that kind of threw me off.
Do not I hate them, O Lord?
Do what?
Do not I hate them? on lords that hate thee.
Saying this is a question. King David's like, do I not hate the ones that hate you, Lord?
That's right.
Am I not supposed to hate them?
Right.
How can I love the ones that hate you? Because we're supposed to love what the Lord loves and hate what the Lord hates. But so if someone hates the Lord, how are we supposed to love them?
Right.
How? But now you got to think about this. Think about it, because this can confound brothers. If it says, am I not supposed to hate the ones that hate the Lord? Israelites hate the Lord too.
Kind of what kind. That's right.
So are we supposed to hate the other Israelites that hate the Lord?
Lie, sir.
Wouldn't that be a contradiction?
Kind of what kind.
So what are you talking about? Contextual. Go ahead.
Contextually, it's talking about the enemies of the Lord.
The Israelites are the enemies of the Lord too.
Kind of what kind. The other nations that hate the Lord.
You know, let's talk about the other nations.
Kind of what kind.
You understand? That's why it's mainly talking about, when it's talking about slay them and all that. It's talking about the Lord.
Right.
Because you want to know why? Because of course nowadays in 2019, what is really the name that people give the Lord? What word do they give for the Lord?
What word do they give for the Lord?
Instead of saying the Lord. People don't say, well, my Lord does this.
Oh, kind of what kind.
They say
God.
God. God is the terminology, the term that we use nowadays for the Most High.
Right.
So when they say they serve God, the Lord is our power.
That's right.
So when they say they serve God, they're talking about their power.
Right.
They're saying it in vain because their power doesn't exist.
Exactly.
There's only one top power,
Right.
which is the Lord.
Right.
So every time the other nations say, I love God, I love God, my God's this, my God's that, they're saying it in vain because they're talking about a God that don't exist.
Right.
That's what it's talking about.
Right.
You understand? Of course, Israelites do it too, but it's talking about, because we're all supposed to serve only Him.
Right.
The other nations are the ones that came up with their fake gods. We didn't come up with a fake God. Israel's never, we never created a false God.
That's right.
We only went to the other nations and served their God that they created.
Right.
I had when I went and purchased that car, it was this Indian, not Native Indian, but
East.
Indian. And so when I asked him, I said, I asked him, how many gods do y'all pray to? And he told me several. And he said his family prayed to several gods, an elephant and some other stuff he named. But then he said since he been over there, he haven't really been going to church or nothing like that. But I left it at that.
941.
I got that right now.
That's right.
Of course, if I could just peel it off, I would,
I
but
get it. Well, you
I
did
don't-
it in
I-
ignorance.
I did ignorance.
Right, yeah, we can get that.
One day,
We said we all marked
we all marked ourselves some type of way.
That's right,
Kind
yeah.
of what kind.
The Pearsons too.
No, Pearsons. Pearsons is lawful.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh, so I can get my nose pierced?
Why isn't those people?
I know, but I thought he did it before.
You can take it out. If it was unlawful. You know what I'm saying? We can get all types. We can get grilled, piercings, everything.
Okay.
Piercings is in the Bible. It literally says piercings
Okay,
in the Bible.
Okay, cool.
I mean, I'll give it to you. Class.
Right. I was gonna say on the Pearsons, I noticed when our forefathers came out of Egypt, they took their piercings out, their earrings, their nose rings, and things like that, the gold that they had
Right.
in them to build that
Right, the
calf
calf.
and all that, but
Right.
it wasn't deemed unlawful. You know, they actually had, if they would not have built the calf out of their gold, it would have been no problem with the piercings that they had.
It's a piercing is just another form of jewelry. You understand? Of course, why? Because if you want, you can take it out.
Okay.
Tattoos, can you take it out?
Lie,
Can you
sir.
take it out and put it on one day?
Lie.
Exactly.
I wish I could.
You understand? And for a piercing, did you have to bleed for it? Nope. Your piercings don't bleed. I don't know how. When you get your ears pierced,
Right.
you don't bleed. I have no idea how.
Because it's so
When you
quick.
get your nose pierced, you don't bleed because it's quick. They put it in, it's there. It really, then all the blood circulates around the hole. You understand? I watched a heathen sister or a heathen woman get her cheek pierced.
Oh,
I was like, that's gonna bleed like a mug.
But it didn't.
Not at all, because they pierce it and then they put the tube through it so it stops the bleeding.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't stop the bleeding; it circulates the blood around the hole.
Right.
And I don't know how it happens, but it does.
It is.
Piercings a lot. When I was in the world, I had my tongue pierced.
And it didn't
Didn't
bleed.
bleed. Of course, it was not fun. It was damn. My tongue was this fat for a whole week. Not fun. But piercings are lawful. It's just it's an accessory.
Right.
Tattoos are not an accessory.
Right.
You know? Of course, they look nice. If they weren't a sin, cool. I would probably get more. You understand? But I understand because you're trying to cover up and mask that you're black. You hate the skin that you're in, so you got to try to put art on it. That's really what it is. Your skin is more beautiful than anything else. But now you want to cover your skin. You want to put something that is beautiful over it.
Right. Right.
Well, okay, keep on around. Let's finish this up. I for sure holding up y'all, brother.
Do not I hate them, O Lord, that hate thee? And am I not, and am not I grieved with those that rise up against thee?
And am not I grieved with those that rise up against me? Meaning what? What does it mean? Am I not? I grieve.
Troubled. I'm vexed in my spirit.
Should I not be troubled? Should I not be irritated when I hear them say that?
Right.
Should I just overlook it?
Right.
You know, it's like it makes me sick to see all these brothers and sisters talking about interracial marriage. Mm-hmm. Should I not be angry at that? Mm-hmm. He's asking. That's literally a question. That's why I have question marks.
Concert, yeah.
He's asking the Lord because he's trying to see if he's in the right spirit.
Right.
Go ahead.
I hate them with a perfect hatred.
And he hates them with a perfect hatred.
That's right.
He hates those heathen that speak against the Lord with a perfect hatred.
That's right.
You understand? Christians that say want to hate something in the Bible, but then it's perfected.
Right.
Hate is perfected in the Bible.
That's right.
Of course, Christians say hate something in the Bible, and then they say it's not possibly perfect.
Right.
This is a double L for them.
Right. That's
hate
right.
And perfection in one Bible, one verse.
One verse.
They perfected the thing that's not in the Bible.
That's right.
Most High Christ.
Most High Christ.
You understand? Perfection can and does exist.
Right.
Perfection only means what? You serve the Lord and follow every law, statute, commandment. That's all perfect is. Perfect doesn't mean you don't make a minor mistake every now and then.
Right.
Perfect doesn't mean that you and your wife get into an argument and you actually were in the wrong.
Right.
Being perfect doesn't mean you might not offend your brother.
Right.
That has nothing to do with perfection. Perfection is if you're following God to a perfect extent.
Exactly.
You're following every last law, statute, commandment there is without waver.
Right.
Without stumbling of the feet.
Right.
You understand? That's all perfection is. Christ was perfect. All the prophets were perfect.
Right.
Even Solomon, he was perfect. Mm-hmm. King David was perfect.
Right.
But guess what? Once they fell into sin, they lost their perfection.
Right.
It's not that difficult. But read the last bit of that.
I hate them with perfect hatred. I count them my enemies.
And he counts them his enemies.
That's right.
The enemies is the so-called oppressor. The enemies is these other nations.
Right.
You understand? Your enemy really isn't your brother and your sister.
Right.
Right.
Of course, right now you look at them and as that, but that's because we are in ignorance.
That's right.
We have learned the philosophy of the oppressor, which makes us hate our brother instead of understand our brother.
Right.
We want to understand the oppressor. We understand him. We go to his schools. We go to his meetings. We go to this and this and that, his counselings, to understand him. But we don't want to understand our own.
Right.
We just hate our own and are judgmental of our own because since we are living, let's say, since I'm in the, let's say, of course I'm not in the world. I'm using myself as an example though. Since I'm in the world and I'm doing great, I look at myself at higher than the ones that are stealing and robbing and murdering who are the same race as myself.
Right.
So because I know I'm doing better than them, I'll degrade them and look at them as if they're not my people. Because you don't want to, because your skin tone or because your bloodline associates yourself with them, you'll do whatever you can to not associate with them. You'll try to change yourself from being black because you don't want to fall into that category.
Right.
Donald Trump labeled us as gangbangers, thugs, and all that. So now you have Little Kim changing herself and trying to look like an oppressor because she doesn't want to associate with looking like us.
Right.
You have Michael Jackson doesn't want to associate with us. You want to associate with the white so-called oppressor.
Right.
Because us, we're thrown on the media as criminals, and the so-called oppressors thrown up on the media as saints.
That's right.
But the problem is that it's flipped.
That's
We
right.
are the saints.
That's right.
And the oppressor's the real criminal.
That's right.
But because of Martin Luther King and the civil rights leaders, we have joined amongst the wicked. We have joined up with the criminal.
That's right.
And became the criminal.
That's right.
You understand? So with that, I shall pass the class over to Priest and Officer Rum. If you could. It's like we're going over time. I know y'all gotta go slave this shit.
It's a lot.
I'm sorry.
I don't know why my damn sinus is acting up today for some reason. This don't
You want me
usually
to,
happen.
Just turn the camera to it. There you go. And after the announcements, stop.
ISUPK security announcements. We are the ISUPK. Started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or a sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to the brother or the sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and the sister will court each other. After this 6 months period, the brother and the sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers 18 and 21. Malachi 3, 8 and 10 means tenth in the Hebrew. My shiara. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the Treasury Department or the teacher. Priest funds, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations, blowing of the trumpets on the 28th of this month. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black boots, shirts, pants, headbands, scarves. With that, I'm saying